All right, welcome back, y'all. Time again. We're going to talk about decolonization. Look at number 47 up there. What he telling you to do? He daring you to do it. He's like, you don't have the heart. Most of you just want to talk about it. You're not going to be about it. Now, let's see if I can get this out, to a couple of folks as we just get things jumped off. Thank you for coming into the live. We just getting started. We're going to go into political theater, the narrative trap. We're going to talk about decolonization, what a state is, stateless individuals, quasi-citizens. Man, we have a whole lot. It's like you can eat your lunch and come back and we're still going to be going, God willing. It's going to be a long day. Plus, I'm getting ready for my my Saturday morning discussion, as well. So my day gonna be packed, as far as that goes. Thank you all for coming, into the live. I'm trying to get some invites out. Let's see. Will it? I appreciate it. Thank you for joining. We're just getting some things together. All right. I guess it. Appreciate you for joining. Just getting started though. Let's talk about it. What do you all know about decolonization? Like, I hear a lot of folks running around claiming the FBAs and, they want reparations and things of that nature. I'm just wondering what do you know about decolonization and why more individuals are not considering it, right? As a solution to a long-standing issue and or problem that we've had. So we're going to take our time, today. A lot of time I come on here and I feel like I'm rushing trying to get through information because it's so much information and the topics are so broad. But today, I'm just taking my time and allowing you all to come on in and be a part of the conversation. Hey, make sure you share, this live as well, as we look to, explain the benefits of decolonization, right? Going into the benefits of decolonization. Let me kind of give that to you, right now, because I do believe this concept is new to a number of you, right? And I'm just going to say that because it just doesn't appear to be on enough social media platforms where individuals are speaking about the need for solutions and reclaiming autonomy. It's like most folks want to continue begging for crumbs. Well, decolonization is a game changer. That puts us back into the position of being a recognized nation state, being able to compete with other nations and or other states. What's wrong? You all do not want to come from under the rule and or leadership of the oppressor, right? You want to continue every 2 to 4 years voting for the oppression, that keeps us deprived from, a economical position that we can be in charge of our own banks. You want to keep getting your charters from them. You want to keep begging them for reparations outside of understanding we can control the resource, the education, the health care. It's as if you all are in love with the idea of liberation or freedom, but to position ourselves to take the actual steps and do the work necessary. It's like a number of you are just not willing to put it in, or you're just way too busy. You got so much else going on, but you want to argue and you want to complain and you want them to give you something. Only thing they're going to give you is a migraine. That's all you're going to get. That's all you're going to get from them is a migraine. Okay? All right, so let's look real quick. Let's look at the benefits to decolonization as we're just getting started, right? We're just getting started. And like I said, normally I am trying to rush through this, but I'm going to take my time. Thank you for the rose, right? I appreciate you. Y'all make sure you share the live. Make sure you repost it. Tap the screen, you all. Let's get this thing started. And let's get the algorithm on it, because I promise you, they don't like when I go live. They don't like the information that I put out. But the one thing I do, I stand on evidence-based academic research. So it just kind of makes it a little bit difficult, but that doesn't mean they don't use the algorithm, against me. Like most people can do their live and they can have their image up there and they don't have to be on screen. Well, if I try that, they send me all types of warnings because they want to make sure they know what I look like. Well, it's me, you all, C2K, and I'm still pushing to organize our people to understand the power behind self-determination, reclaiming our autonomy, and the actual inroad as to how we get there. So if you're on Discord, guess what? If you're on Discord, you can find me at Evidence-Based Academic Research or EBAR, right? And when you come in, you'll see a couple of questions up there, like I was invited, so you can go in and answer so we can communicate. But, this is where we talk even more about furthering the agenda to decolonize, because there's definitely a strategy that has to take place. And some failures have happened within what you call government, that they are responsible for putting this information out, but they failed to do it because they're claiming by the consent and or the legitimacy of the people, you all don't want to decolonize. You want them to continue controlling and or managing your affairs. That's why 300 million people vote for it every time it come round time to vote, as if voting is going to return self-determination, or it's going to give you autonomy or put you in front of the resources. No. Y'all stop playing that game. And I'm going to get to reading the benefits behind decolonization. But I want to tell you, too, the other day I was watching CNN, and the NAACP vice chair woman, I believe her name is Karen something, but she made a grave error. Now, we know 47 is not that bright. We do know that. But she made a grave error because 47 told the truth. And the truth that he told was that voting was a privilege. And she didn't understand what he meant by that. And see, our people are under the facade that they have a right to vote, not understanding that it's a play on words. The thing that they call the right to vote is nothing more than a privilege to vote. One way you can determine that it truly is a privilege is because they can take it away. Beyond that, they gave it to you. That's how you know it's a privilege, but like the term civil right, that's a privilege also. But because it has that word right at the end, a lot of people not understanding the difference between a human right, a civil right, and an unalienable right, they get it confused. And then out of ignorance, they want to argue. So I just thought it was pretty disturbing that someone sitting in her position aimed or called to be someone that care about the condition of air quote black people in America, that these experts and these professionals don't know what the hell they're talking about. She's on live TV in front of millions of people, and she said voting is not a privilege. And no one corrected her for saying this, when it's definitely a privilege. And 47 was trying to make it known, basically, so you'll decide what you're going to do. But you all, a number of you love this oppressor. No matter what he do, you think you can make it right. You think they're going to have some benefit and or some favor for you being in their house and their Senate. It's not your house, it's not your Senate, but you want to rub elbows with them and you think that's going to bring, some benefit to your community. Well, no, you're only keeping your community bound even more, even longer. Our solution right now, UN Resolution 1514. Look it up. That's our solution. No more begging for reparations. Let's just go and control the whole game. Let's stand to govern our own affairs on the international stage as a people, as a nation of people. What's wrong? Y'all scared of that? Y'all can't put yourself right. You can't not be selfish for an agenda and or, a concept. Everybody wants to, or you can't be selfless. Let me say it this way, so that we can achieve this agenda. Like, you can only look at it as what are you going to get out of it versus understanding what our posterity is going to get out of it, what our offspring will benefit from it. Because a lot of people, they running game, y'all. They running game. They running game. They running game. I'm just telling you. They selling information and they're telling folks, it's $100 to have a consultation, $500, even $1,000 just to talk to these just to talk to these people. It's insane. And then they don't have anything of value to say. Oh, they do have some information for you, but it's not this. But the information they have or whatever it is just to keep their hands in your pocket and to keep you buying this package and that package. And I'm just telling you all, the information is free, y'all, right? The information is free. And, myself, CP, Elevation Room, E-Bar, Mario, a couple of others, we come together and we're committed to making sure people get the information from Fourth Amendment it's just so many things that we talk about and we're doing, and not only talking about, you all, we're exercising these things, we're putting these things in position and or play, and we're making it available for those or our people that want to see these things come to fruition. We're not just here to talk about it. It's like we're not powerless, we're just not organized. So we're positioning individuals to understand the dynamics of being organized under an agenda, right? Or with an agenda. And then being able to execute that agenda and understand the benefit and the principle, of that agenda. Because a number of us, we just don't have a clue what's going on within the political theater. Thank you all for coming, into the live. Make sure you share, make sure you share the live. So let's look at the benefits, you all. And like I said, I'm going to take my time today. Normally, this information, it can stress you out, stress me out, and I'll be trying to rush through the information, but I'm just going to take my time, right? And if you all get it, for those of you that get it, we'll clap our hands and we'll have a broader conversation. And for those of you where, this is your first time, hearing it, and you hang in there and hopefully you learn something. But we're going to try to stick to the evidence-based academic research. So let's look at the benefits right here. Decolonization fosters political, economical, and cultural independence. Isn't that what we want? Don't we want independence? In having independence, you all, we do not have to beg for reparations. It's just that simple. Y'all running around talking about this our land and your land, and you indigenous and you the original people, and you have so much to say, but you have nothing to openly show that you're moving towards self-determination or reclaiming autonomy. So I'm inviting all of you to join us as we open the doors to decolonization and let the world know, in solidarity, this is what we're doing. We're reclaiming our autonomy. We're going for our independence. And guess what, y'all? Guess what? And I know I could get to this as I get further. Excuse me. I know I could get to this as I get further into the information, because a lot of you feel like, well, they already have things structured and or established right here in America. You can't have a nation inside of a nation or a state inside of a state. Well, that's not true. It's not true based on the research, based on the evidence. It's not true. Because first of all, we are a nation of people, and we are being ruled by another nation of people. And this is why decolonization is important for us. We've forgotten our heritage, right? And we need to reposition ourselves to compete on an international stage. So, but anyway, the concept to being able to be a nation or state right here, don't have to go anywhere. It's through the layered concept of jurisdictions. Layered concept, basically saying you can have multiple jurisdictions over the same geographical area, and they all can have a scope of authority and or power. Boom, that's the key. But don't wait for their experts and their professionals to explain this to you. That concept is called conterminous jurisdiction. That speaks to where multiple jurisdictions can overlay a specific geographical area and function. So there's no monopoly on who can have this jurisdiction. It's just, are you willing to organize to be in that position to where we can compete on the national scale, to where we can be in control of the resources? Y'all just want to talk. It's like y'all in love with the idea of liberation, but really when it come down to wanting to do the work, y'all scared to move. Like, anyway, so cultural independence, allowing nations to reclaim sovereignty. Have you all forgotten that we're a nation? Have you all forgotten that we were looking to reclaim our sovereignty? Or do you think you're sovereign because they're sovereign? We need to figure this out and stop playing these games and conflating, the ideas and, the processes, and be intentional with what we're doing. So reclaim sovereignty. We're talking about the benefits of decolonization. Control resources. Don't y'all want to control resources? Don't you want a $500 billion budget? $1 trillion budget? First of all, they say our people spend upward to $2 trillion. That's enough to rival countries like Canada and Mexico. Wouldn't you all like to use that toward a tailored benefit and or interest on our behalf, separate from the colonizers' institutions and or way of doing things? Wouldn't you like the opportunity to be affiliated with a BRICS, if that was your desire, or an opportunity to say, you know what? We have upward to $2 trillion in spending power. We're considered a sovereign. We can make decisions. Let's formulate our own currency based off of the $2 trillion to circulate within our construct. It doesn't mean, it doesn't mean we can't go to the places that we're familiar with going to. It just says we've taken a step to let it be known on the international stage that we're functioning as a people, as a nation, and this is the medium of exchange that we're doing. And guess what? If we needed to convert the medium of exchange to a dollar bill, then we'll do that. But we have our own medium of exchange. No different than China. If they come here, they convert. If we go there, we convert our currency. But it would be ours, and the concept of the $2 trillion in spending or purchasing power would be the root base, of that economic. And that's another conversation within securitization, right? Not here to talk about that right now, but there's really nothing stopping us. And I'm just saying, enough with the begging. Because they're not going to give you anything. They're just going to string you along, and, they're going to string your offspring, along. And the concept of the oppression is just going to get tighter. Thank you all for coming, into the live. Make sure you share, you share the live. So where we leave off, controlling resources and revive indigenous languages and traditions. That's key. That's key. Because again, my people so confused. So confused. So confused. It's not our fault that we're so confused, but it is our fault that we're so confused because, we allowed them to do this and to continue doing this. They've stripped us of our names, of our heritage, of our language. And through the concept of decolonization, we have an inroad to correcting all of these things. Developing the family of nations. A number of you, this may be your first time hearing it, but there's antiquity there when we talk about the family of nations. We'll reintroduce you to that concept as well. There's so much available to us that it doesn't make sense to keep consenting to your continued oppression. What do I mean by consenting? So, legitimacy, you all, and I'm going to finish explaining the benefits to decolonization. But legitimacy and consent, you all, these things are synonymous because legitimacy means we stand to say something is proper, appropriate, and just. Furthermore, we consent to what's transpiring. So when you all stand to register time in and time out to the vote, unbeknownst to you, you're agreeing within legitimacy to everything that's happening. I know you don't see it that way, and you've been trained to look at it within a different perspective, like this is going to assist you, just nudge the needle just a little bit. You all should be tired of these games. They've been running these games for more than 100 years. It's a narrative trap, right? I know we're smarter than that, but we have an opportunity to revive indigenous languages and traditions, meaning our heritage. We have a rich heritage. Some of us are Moors, some of us are Israelites, some of us Iroquois nations or the 500, nations. I don't like saying the word Indian because that is a term they created, but we have to look at the records of antiquity and understand what nations. Stop using these nomenclatures that they've created to hide who we are as a nation of people. And let us come together, reconvening in the family of nations. But let's not be colonized anymore. Let's decolonize. Use our effort and interest towards a common goal, maintaining our autonomy, and compete on the international scale. Are y'all ready, for that? Right? That's my brother Robert right there. Look, I'm gonna see if I can get you up on the stage here. If you want to come up. I'm still explaining right now the benefits. I'm explaining the benefits to it. Let's see, who is this? Let's see. Kate Book, you want to come up too? All right. Who is this? Okay. Man, I'm ready. Okay, I hear you. Say, I'm ready. Who is this? Dreadhead. Dreadhead say he ready. All right, Dreadhead, if you want to come up, you can come up, also. And so as I was explaining, and I'm gonna open the floor here, in a few seconds. Also talking about the benefits of decolonization, right? It said promote equity by breaking down systemic stereotypes. You all, this puts us in front of our own destiny. Is that my brother Mel? Mel, you can come on up too if you want. All right. But, it puts us in front of our destiny. Then it says encouraging diverse perspectives in education. Right now, we can't control the education or what our people learn. And this is why we're so screwed up following their experts and their professionals. Right? I'm going to finish this last line and then I'm going to open the floor up. It says, and enable sustainable development. You all, we have the answers. We have the opportunity. We have the inroad. We just need to stop, with all of the fussing and the fighting. All right, Robert, I'm going to start with you. Good afternoon. Thank you for
Hey, good afternoon,
joining
sir.
me live. What do you want to share with us here today?
I would definitely like to say that, well, first and foremost, I really enjoy your forum. It is very educational and it is benefiting. What I would like to say is that, I wanted to just kind of reiterate what you were saying as far as us being able to set up our own stuff here. And I think that people need to know that it's actually possible. It is in the Constitution that we gave the European immigrants when they first got here. And I think that people really need to know that it's possible with our numbers, it's possible with our education, it's possible with our finances, it's possible with our experience. We have a lot of people in our community within our nation who are in politics. I even ran for city council for Charlotte, North Carolina, where I'm from. So we have people who are in politics. We have military. We have inventors. We have scientists. We got doctors. We have everything we need to be the independent nation that we already in. And the only reason I say that is because America is our land. So we're already in our own nation. It's about us, like what you said earlier. It's about us. It's about us becoming a political body and about us projecting who we are back to the world. Because when you talk about like the United Nations, they talk about nations, United Nations. Us coming back saying that hey, we're back online now as a nation. We're sitting back at the table of global affairs. We're going to be recognized real quick because the world knows what happened. They like world leaders, world body governments like the UN, one of those for example, right? They already know that we are the aboriginal population, and that's another reason why I put in the comments. I don't know if a lot of people notice, but you can't even be a citizen of the United States corporation, even if you wanted to.
Mm,
You know, we can see that with the Dred Scott case. You can't be a citizen because you are an American. You can't be a citizen and American at the same time. It's impossible. If you a citizen, that mean you are a part. I mean, excuse me. If you are an Aboriginal, that means you are a part of out of 2,000 tribes or plus that was here. If you are a citizen, you came through the 13 colonies,
yeah.
right? So you can't be an American and a citizen at the same time in the first place. And I tell that to people so they can get out their mind that you can't be a nation in another nation. They quickly forget that Caucasians can't be a nation in a land that's not theirs. They are guests. They are immigrants. They're not American by blood like you are, like how I am, how James Brown is, right? Right? How Michael Jordan is, how Michael Jackson is, right? How we are all tied to the land indigenously through blood, not through
Okay.
historical.
All right. Okay, Robert. All right, hold on for a second. We're going because you got some good stuff, going. And I want to ask you guys when you come to the stage, mute up when you come to the stage, and then when we call on you, then you can open your mic. But Robert just introduced himself, and he had a whole lot, good to say. Dred, I'm gonna ask you to mute up, Dred. Mute up, Dred. Mute up, Dread. All right, so next we got Kate. Kate Book. Kate Book, what you got for us? If you're talking, Kate, you're on mute. Kate Book, if you're trying to say something, you are on mute. All right, so we're gonna go to Dread.
Can you hear me now?
Now. Oh, all right, hold up, Dread. Kate, she's on, and Lamont, make sure you mute up, Lamont. Mute up. Yeah, I can hear you now, Kate. Go ahead. Mute up, Lamont. I hear you, Kate. Go ahead, Kate. Something must be going on with Kate's microphone.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so we're dealing with two things, like the brother was talking about earlier. We're dealing with the United States corporation, and we're dealing with the Constitution, the law of the land. So, up until the year Donald Trump came in presidency, we were still under the United States corporation, which was a big thing that people were really not understanding why he was so bent on the Constitution, because the Constitution recognizes us as the foundational Black Americans. The Constitution recognizes us as that. So we have to get into the Constitution and leave the United States corporation laws alone, because they no longer exist. Which is one reason why when Malcolm X went to the United Nations, as an African American, we can't get any reparations because we're not African Americans. We wasn't. We could never get anything under the term African American. Okay,
Absolutely.
so what I'm saying is that, and it seems kind of diabolical, because I'm saying that Donald Trump freed the slaves. We were slaves under the United States Constitution, and you can read that for yourself. But now that the Constitution is in full force, then now we are the foundational African Black Americans. We are not from Africa. We are not secondhand citizens. We are the foundational Black Americans. The once was, aka Indians. We were those copper tone people found here in America when Christopher Columbus came. The United States Corporation put us as slaves. We are no longer slaves under the Constitution, which Donald Trump is in full force of. That's my statement.
Okay. So because I've heard a lot of people talking about the FBA, and I'm like, okay, even with all of that, you all, decolonization is a concept to where we don't have to be concerned about what they're doing and what they're not doing, because it positions us to focus specifically on what it means to be that people. Like, we're not talking about it anymore. So I'm going to suggest that people start diving into what decolonization is, because a lot of times we're coming up and we're still talking about what they're doing and what they did. And it's like, you know what? We have a solution, you all. We have a way to manage our business and to prove that we are who we say, we are on this land. But we have to go through a process. And most people just aren't ready to go through that process. All right, Dred, it's your turn. Come on. What you got, Dred?
Peace and love at all costs. Peace and love. So I was just listening, and my birthday was yesterday. Thank you guys. But my real birthday is every day. So I didn't really have much. I didn't want to repeat anything that I've ever heard before. And I hear people talking about us being Indians, this, that, and the other. My spirit was there, but physically I wasn't. And if I was, I don't remember. So I don't speak on it. I just think on it. right now as we speak, I'm actually pulling out my daughter's birth certificate and social security card. And I was speaking with a friend yesterday about decolonizing, and he likes to talk about the series stars and but he gets mad at me and a lot of the people that I don't have friends because they fry you in the end. My brothers and sisters get angry at me because I got knowledge coming from the ether, and when they're a certain way, a certain negative, I'm not able to explain that to them. The ether won't even let me give it to them. If they're not open, they can't get it. If they're open, they get flooded, and then they be like, "Where you get that from?" And then some stuff that I say, it'll compare to a book, the Enoch, the scrolls. I don't know that. I didn't read that. I had a hard life, very hard, and I appreciate it. My worst life is my best life. I endure through it, and it gives me knowledge on things that people know that only they could go read it out the scriptures, or they might have went through it, but the scriptures gave it to them more, but they can't cipher the difference because they didn't receive the discernment that I have in silence that's golden. When I don't speak, I get the answers. When I don't speak, you might say the answer. I don't need to speak while you speaking. I don't need to speak after you speaking. I receive the answer. And I move forward with the answer to get it off into my younger brothers or the elders, or put it in myself, let it plant and do and manifest what the Most High made for it to do. So it's beautiful that I just woke up this morning because I went to sleep late. And as I was saying before with the brother, talking about series and this and that. And then in the midst of him speaking of that, he told me exactly how to decolonize. I'm talking about step by step. But then he didn't notice that he did it. So I was like, hey, brother, can you run that back exactly how to decolonize? You told me how to decolonize me, my daughter, every step of the way when you was in the spirit. And he snapped out the spirit and never gave it back to me. So, and I don't like saying never, because how the Most High work, you either pick never or you pick forever. And they both have past, present, and future in it. And I don't want the past, present, future of the never. I'll take the forever and the ever. Long story short, I woke up this morning to you and you was talking about decolonizing. And while I was trying to wait for the lady to kick in, I had just found my daughter's birth certificate and her social security card. So this was right on time for me. I didn't have like a lot of like what everybody else have, like that forward knowledge. Not that I don't have it, but I wasn't there, so I don't speak on it with us being Indians and this, that. I hear people arguing all day. I'm not doing none of it. I'm just gonna sit back in the cut until they get through arguing. Whatever the top answer comes out, that's the most highest, not from them, from the actual most high that is confirmation to me, then I'll roll out with that without arguing or talking to nobody. And exactly like y'all said, we're already there. If you're there and I've been there. I've been there before the papers. I've been living like this my whole life. If I turn in a circle, that's my circle. I got a big family, none of them around me, none of them trying to do this. And I get it. There's a lot of scriptures that speak about that. And so I used to feel alone, but after I stayed alone so long, I found out I'm not alone. I'm alone from the Most High, and I better act like it. So I land my plane there. Peace and love.
Okay, so I just want to say, man, you're in the right place. This is where we go beyond just talking and we empower people with the evidence-based academic research, the knowledge, the right tools, because you can't have a movement until you actually have the enlightenment. And for our people, we need to be educated, re-educated, and we need to be put in front of the information so that we can scrutinize it even further. Understanding is cool to scrutinize the truth because it will not change. All we're doing is agreeing that this is going to be a priority and we move towards accomplishing a particular goal in solidarity, realizing decolonization is a real solution. It's something that is internationally recognized and respected. Over the years, we had not taken advantage of it. Okay. And they've hid these things from us like they've hid so many different things from us, and using their media and other resources and tools to keep our people trapped, in the narrative trap, as I say as well. All right, so let's move on to Brother Mel. Oh, Brother Mel. Oh, how you doing, man? Good to see you
Doing,
today.
doing good, brother. How you doing?
I'm awesome, man. What you got for us today, Mel?
I agree with everything that I'm hearing. Malcolm X once said, we are aboriginal to this country, and aboriginal means being the original from this land. And I don't think that we as a people need to try to label ourselves. I think that we need to just unite, and we need to work for the one common cause. I myself have, I agree with the decolonizing physically and mentally as well. I have been on my page from time to time. I've been pushing for a reverse migration where we can come back and reclaim land that was taken from us and our ancestors. And there are steps that we need to take, but a lot of the things that we can get land without their permission. We can buy land anytime we feel. And those are things like I heard it said earlier. When we truly put our focus on us, everything else is going to become irrelevant to what we're doing. Everything on the outside can remain outside. We'll be focused on internal, fixing ourselves internally, fixing ourselves to succeed, fixing ourselves to continue to progress in a country that has never given us a chance. And I'm like this. Yes, are we owed reparations from this country? Yeah, but we cannot continue to ask and beg for what we can give ourselves. And the sooner that we start working together collectively in unity, and when we start using what we have to our advantage, our dollars, our intellect, our youth, using everything that we have to our advantage, we win. Because let's be real, we are the superior being, and I have no qualms in saying that to anybody. We are the blueprint, the black print, if I can say, because everything that exists on this earth would not be had it not been for us. We are the intellectual ones. We are the ones that are blessed by the Most High, with the Most High in us. We're the closest thing to a God that most people will see. And we need to reclaim that, reclaim our knowledge, reclaim our position, reclaim ourselves. And I'll land there.
All right, so I'm gonna work in reverse from what you said. We're not the closest thing to it. We are it when you talk about God and that controlling energy as to where we see this world is definitely collapsing with all of the corruption and evil that they've been doing for thousands of years. Well, after that is over, this is where we come back into position and or play what they called in history the dark ages and the medieval times. But it's time for us to come back under the banner of righteousness and not doing and or making the mistakes that they've made, and actually to revitalize the earth and the world. So the other thing I wanted to say, all the things that you were talking about as far as getting the land and being able to have a degree of power and control, all those things are associated in decolonization. Through the process of decolonization, they would have to relinquish these things because we would now have control over the resource. So we would be that governing body that we've not been, or we would have the position and or power that we've not had for so long. So it's like we don't have to reinvent anything, or all we have to do is come to understand what this process is, position ourselves to uh, have what it has all, or what they've already recognized they have to return, and that is everything that they've pilfered. Okay, everything that they've stolen, they got to give it back, and they agreed to give it back in the 1960s through this decolonization concept. Then they were supposed to, after they left that meeting, they were supposed to come back and tell the people that these were the things they discussed. But what did they do during that time? If there are those of you here that understand the history, they gave the people civil rights. The whole civil rights conversation overshadowed the decolonization conversation centered around what it would mean to be liberated, right? And they've kept us within that cycle up until now. And what they're saying, or what it shows, on its face, what it shows is that we don't want to be a sovereign people, or we don't want to be a people seen as a nation, because we go out and we support them within their governmental structure, agreeing to their policies and their practices, and they're saying to the UN, like, see, they don't want, they don't want to be separate. They want us to continue managing their affairs, controlling their interests. So it's just now time to make people aware that we have to come together in solidarity, first recognizing what decolonization can offer, and then looking at what the commitment means to be a part of the process, the project, that we can stand now internationally to say, this is who we are. So here's the other thing, Mel, where you say you don't think we need to be labeled. Well, we have to be, because historically, and or dealing with antiquity, this is where the lineage comes from. So we have to understand what nation, what heritage we are a part of, and we have to stand on that within the international forum. Uniquely, we can function also as a family of nations, but you can't be a nation and be nameless. So we will identify ourselves not foundational Black and Negro and African American. We're going to deal with real antiquity. We're not going to deal with nomenclature and all of these other things that they've created, but we're going to deal, with real heritage, and we're going to build, from that standpoint. So you guys have made some real great points. I could continue speaking about the benefits, but I think Robert may have something, he wants to, add before I pick it up again.
This is something that I would quickly like to add. And I don't know if, we like, I did 8 years in the Marine Corps, right? And one thing that I realized about everything that was going on in Afghanistan, it was because they wanted to topple the Aboriginal governance, or of that area, right? And so this is why you see all of these, like, I guess from what we would see from our side, a lot of political fighters or religious fighters, right? Like on the Afghan side, right? And what they truly was fighting for was for the right to control their own future and to control the resources on their land and be their own governance. And these guys in Afghanistan with flip flops, AKs, and a prayer defeated over 10 nations who got budgets in the trillions. We talking about airplane craft carriers. We talking tank. I mean, the whole military shebang, and they lost. I say all that to say this: we don't have an excuse. We got more than the Taliban ever had. We got more training. We got more net worth. We got more network. We have a historical chart of actually literally having empires, literally having kingdoms. We have a historical chart of actually creating the resources and, how can I say, the technology and inventions to create the foundation for any kind of civilization. We've done it already. We have no excuse We don't, and it's. I mean, wow, that I mean, it's so real what you said. How they go to the UN and they tell them, hey, they voted for us. They still want us to. They still want us to control their lives. They know they're not it. They know they're not the copper color aboriginal. They know they're not the governance. But as long as we give them right, but not becoming a political body, but not announcing our appearance as coming back as a political body, they're going to keep doing just that. They not supposed to be being your judges. They not supposed to be your cops. They not supposed to be your politicians. They not supposed to be doing any of this. They committing horrible crimes by doing so, but they only doing it on the cuffs of us not doing exactly what the host said, and that's going to places like the United Nations, letting them know that our proclamation that we're back. We don't have to ask for permission. The Caucasian never asked for permission to even write us out. And the crazy thing is, no matter what they put on ink, no matter what they use their ink on what paper, no matter what kind of laws they try to come up, none of this stuff is legal unless the Aboriginal deems it so by following it. As soon as you say, I'm not voting for you because you are immigrant and that we are the governance, as soon as we become our own political body, as soon as we get our own constitution, our own charters, that means we can open up our own borders. We can open up our own ports. Now we can control the oil, the resources, like real resources we need, like oil, gold, silver, the water, the air, the forest. I can keep going on and on for days, right? This stuff is ours that the US corporation literally has no control over. This is why they go get oil from all the other people. Because a lot of the stuff that we have, they can, for whatever reason, they can't get to it no more like that. And it's been like that for a little bit. They not telling y'all that, but that's what's going on. This is a whole reason for trying to go get it from all these other folks. If we stand up right now, going forward, the world will know peace. If we stand up right now, going forward, you will quickly see racism end, and it'll end in under 1 year. It'll end in under 1 year. I'm talking about it'll all end. I want to say one other thing. I would definitely tell people to go research the handwritten organic constitution and the people that you call black who was in the original formation of the Iroquois Confederation. We the ones who wrote the whole law. They got it all from us. So when you see these Caucasian immigrant judges quoting and touting jurisprudence, legislation, equity, all of this stuff they doing, they didn't write this stuff. This is the stuff that allowed for them to come here through Ellis Island. And when they came through Ellis Island, through government, they came into a land that was already built up with cities and with organized governance. That was us, not Caucasians. And I just and trust me, y'all, I got a gang of information, but I won't be doing that because this is not my forum. So I'm kind of like I'm doing my best to just kind of lightly slide over everything. But we are already a government. We are literally over 50 million plus people. You bigger than Italy. You bigger than Spain. You bigger than France. You bigger than Germany. You bigger than Puerto Rico. Bigger than Dominican Republic. Bigger than Haiti.
That's why I hit you earlier and I said you and we're gonna talk on the back channel and we're gonna schedule to where we can go live and you can do your thing. And we're gonna get connected on some of the other platforms in the back where we're talking, as well. So that you can like meet the team and we can do this thing. I wanted to address two things you said and something somebody else expressed. One thing I want to say, you guys, is when you look at the resolution 1514 and when you look at resolution 1541, the colonizers acknowledge the mistake that they made, the wrong, that they've done, and they said if the people take the position, then they'll give it back. Okay, that's one thing. The other thing is somebody made a comment about how we have to deal with the other air quote blacks that would try to prevent us from doing this, that, or the other. And I just want to say this. Everybody is not going to be interested in what it means to decolonize. And we have to be okay with that. Let them stay over there. And I say, we don't need to be worried about what they're doing, how they're doing. We need to be focused on what our business and what our interest is. And furthermore, being able to show that we can protect our interest, our investment. So if there are those individuals within our circles that are functioning and or speaking outside of the guidelines, the principles, then we have what we need to deal with them either legally, lawfully, or by whatever remedy we decide to do it. Because we would be a nation. This is like, I don't know if you all are like really comprehending what's available to us, what's already on the books that we can have benefit to, as Robert said, you know, like right now, we could end this thing tomorrow. Tomorrow. I don't know, really, I just know tomorrow, okay? So let me read this right here based on decolonization, as I was telling you guys about the benefits. So real quick, political sovereignty, you all, political sovereignty, right? Again, we don't have to argue about what they're doing. Furthermore, they have a right to do what they do. Okay? And for those who participate with what they do, that's who they're working with. We also have a right to do what we do. And we have a greater position and or hand because of an original position and or state or claim. So it gives us an advantage. And they know they don't really want us on that platform, so they spend billions of dollars, you all, advertising to keep us away from these conversations. But we don't really have to be concerned about what they're doing. We just need to know what our business is. So here, political sovereignty is a benefit. Newly independent nations can establish self-governance. Create institutions. What are we arguing about, you all? They're just waiting for us to stand up. Who am I talking about? They waiting for us. The other nations, the other people. They're waiting for us to recognize we are a nation and to do it formally. That's why we're having these meetings and expressing what needs to be done to make the concept to decolonization official, to announce that, you know, we are an independent nation, and to have control over the resources, to have access to budget, and to be able to do these things, right? It says, create institutions reflecting our values. You hear me? Create institutions that reflect our values and reduce reliance on former colonial powers. Yes, we should be sharing the room right now. We should be tapping the screen right now. You should be hitting the daily heart me up there right now. Right? You all should be celebrating right now because we don't have to beg no more. We have an actual solution. We don't have to make up nothing. It's been sitting there dormant for over 60 years, waiting for us to no longer want civil rights, waiting for us to no longer participate in the concept of their government and their foreign policy and national policy, and come to understand our interest, our agenda, our values. But guess what, you all? We have to be ready to announce what the express will is. We have to be ready to explain what these things are, not just talking about them, y'all, because we love to talk. We love to talk. But we now have to put these things on paper, and this is where we show the pen is mightier than the sword. But we haven't used our pen in the manner and or way that we should use it. We've used it to propel their agenda. We've used our pen to help them bind and oppress us even more. As I say, we're not bound anymore by, chains and shackles of iron. We're bound today by a chain of words, because they now have an administrative government, you all. Some people argue like, oh, it's a republic in the Constitution. You all need to stop. You all need to stop. That's the narrative trap. You're repeating things. You have no idea what you're talking about. The republic been gone, y'all. It's been gone. If you study Woodrow Wilson, he first initiated the concept of the administrative government. FDR, Franklin D. Roosevelt, he finished it off with the New Deal. That's why today, what they say is this administration, that administration, you all, because it's an administrative government. And folks are under the guise that we still have some republic. It shifted long time ago, and I'm happy to be the one to bring this to your attention. Right? So, what else we got? Economic independence. Yo, if we step into decolonization, you all, we have economic independence while you all are talking about building black wealth. You'll never be able to build black wealth in their institution, or what you call it, generational wealth. That's what you call it. You'll never have y'all just be fooling yourself. Y'all just like to sound good. In fact, y'all just like to lie to each other. Lie to them, make it sound fly to them, but at the end of the day, you want to enrich yourself in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Black economics, and that's just pulling people to you so you can get some money. But there's no real black economics within their system and or structure. We need to stop hustling each other. These are bad habits and traits that we've picked up from these people. It doesn't help us. We need to also be able to identify who these individuals and or people are. Yeah, we can give them a chance to clean up, shape up, and get it right. One thing we're not going to do is function through corruption like they have, because we already understand where that's going to lead us. So we have to be way more disciplined. Y'all want to talk about we kings, we queens, and we gods, then we're going to have to act like it, you all. We're going to have to rise to the occasion. Economic independence. Nations gain control over their natural resources. Do you hear this? This is what we're missing out on, continuing to function under the guise of their leadership. We're missing out on control over the resources. Oh, y'all like the continuation of paying a light bill, huh? Or water bill. These are all resources that should be for the people. But what they've done is they've said, since you all want us to manage your affairs, we're going to manage or govern this for you, and this is our fee for managing it. And every month there's a light bill. But the UN has established and they have agreed that the resources belong to the people. So why are we paying for something that already belonged to us? It don't make sense, you all. We're tied or trapped in the war, the great war of ignorance. But we can dispel it. We can dispel it. We can dispel it. Yep. We can dispel it with evidence-based academic research. We can dispel it with facts. We can dispel it by just wanting to be upright. Thank you all for coming, into the live, right? I appreciate it. Real quick, before I go into some other explanations, okay. Oh, okay. So only Mel on the stage right now. The stage is open. But Mel, if you had something else you wanted to say before I go into explaining even more about the benefits, you'll have an opportunity to speak, right?
Go ahead, brother. I'm listening and learning as well.
Okay. Awesome. 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 All right. Somebody else here. Who is that? Let's see. I'm trying to get you. Okay. All right. So I got one more that just came up on the stage. I'm gonna give you a chance to speak, and then I'm gonna go ahead and keep going over the benefits. Who we got?
Peace. Can you hear me, brother?
I hear you loud and clear.
Yes, sir. Thank you, brother. Good format. This is my first time actually seeing it, but I definitely appreciate what you brothers are talking about. And it kind of brought to mind something the letter that the Pope had wrote to Barack Obama in 2014, the General Civil Orders, when he was showing everybody how the federal government and the Democratic Party was a federal corporation and that we needed to release ourselves from that because we never really had the rights, even coming up out of some of the servitude that we had been subjected to. So to hear you speaking and pushing this forward, brother, I'm definitely in full support of it. Uh, we are long overdue and far behind. And it does need to be put out there, brother. I just wanted to add on and continue listening, brother. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Appreciate you. Man, you are absolutely correct. And the thing is, they know it, but our people refuse to accept and take it as a truth. We
Hmm.
keep trying to argue and make ourselves believe that the only position we have is this position of oppression. But they're talking amongst themselves. They're even creating open records or public records for us to
Yes.
know that we have a way out. But our people, a majority of our people, just want to keep arguing, the position of letting them control. But like you said, the Pope talked about it. And what I'm telling you is they had this conversation in the 60s and they already agreed that they would give these things or make these things available to the people. And here we are 60 years later, still arguing about trying to get the land and resources. And it's only thing it's waiting for is us to submit the paperwork.
And
That's all.
like you said about those other countries, they're waiting for us. They even released their historical archives trying to help us see who we are over here.
Right.
You know, all of the other countries across the globe have released historical records proving who we are in this country. And
So
they're
go ahead. Go
go
ahead.
ahead, brother. Excuse me. Go ahead. I'm
No, go
unmuted.
ahead.
No,
No,
I'm
go
listening.
ahead.
I got you, brother.
Okay.
That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
All right. So I appreciate you for coming up. Make sure you follow me and inbox me so I can get you connected, with our Discord, Telegram, other things that we're doing so that you can truly be a part of the mission. You can be a part of the development. And, again, we can make this thing real.
Yes.
And it's already real, but I'm saying have more people to be able to stand and show this is what we're doing. Because when it comes to the political theater and the narrative trap, you all, it's like they're doing everything they can to prevent us from expressing this is what we're doing unequivocally, without a doubt. Here we are.
Yes, sir.
Now, give the resource back. Now, let me finish reading this right here because we said economic independence, we gain control over natural resources, economic development. Look at this without external interference. You all, the colonizers, have already agreed to this. They've already agreed that once we do it, they wouldn't interfere. And you got a lot of folks that say, oh, as soon as we do this, they're going to change this law. They're going to change that law. Y'all need to stop. Y'all need to stop. Right? We need to show that this is where we want to be. This is what we want to do, and make them stand on what they agreed to over 60 years ago. And then we can have the support of all the other nations and countries. Right now, we can't get their support because America is saying you don't have no right to interfere because they want us to handle their affairs. So get out of our business. But once we properly, or let me say through legitimacy, which means what's proper, appropriate, and just, right? Once we separate ourselves from their venue, it don't mean we gotta go to Brazil or Africa or Canada. When I say separate ourselves, I'm speaking logistically. Using what's available through UN Resolution 1514 and the other resolutions that support it, that we can formally announce we are a nation of people reclaiming our autonomy, our land, our resources. All right, what else does it say? It says cultural revitalization. Come on, y'all. We don't have to make nothing up. They've already laid it out for us. All we have to do is get in line with it. Thank you all for the likes. Continue to share the room. Let's get it out. Our families need to hear about these discussions. Y'all, we got some great minds. So we have some great minds, right? You can't tell me we can't have a Congress. You can't tell me we can't have a Senate. You can't tell me we can't have a parliament. Right? No, you can't convince me. I mean, we're doing it for them. Okay? Cultural revitalization. Suppression of native culture is reserved, allowing for resurgence in traditional art, music, literature, and languages, because right now they suppress all that, from us. Look at what they did with hip hop, how as we were getting more conscious with it, they interfered and put us on the track with ratchet music and, destroyed the concept of our art. Well, now we have the inroad to be able to fund these things, to be in front of these things. If we can get past our selfish, because so many of you are just selfish motives. All you can think about is yourself. Me. Get me some money. Well, you stay over there with them and get their money while we work to position ourselves, as a rich nation. There was a time the country Kuwait, where a friend of mine told me he was over there and those people were living so good, the nation or the state, the nation, however they call it, made sure the people were taken care of based on one resource, being the oil. And even America was created to function like that, right? But the moment we were released into their population, they was like, oh, hell no, we ain't gonna let, these folk right here benefit from that, because they knew even there we would overshadow them. So they created other venues and or ways for them to get the benefits and make it difficult, for us. So we now have an opportunity to function that way, to where the resources from this land can be the thing that help a number of us live dynamically less stressful lives. Y'all don't understand. I don't think you understand the seriousness of this while you're running around still begging for reparations. It's in freaking sane. It's like you love the confusion. You love the confusion and you just want to keep that going. And when someone say, well, here's the solution, you want to say, oh, they ain't going to let you do that. We just need to keep trying to build black wealth and build black banks. That's a narrative trap, you all. We're not going to build black banks. We're not going to have generational wealth unless we decolonize. What else it say? Social equity and justice. It challenges systems inequalities, encourages the inclusion of diverse perspectives and advance reconciliation. All we're saying, you all, is we have a opportunity to eradicate long-standing issues with what we've thought to be unfair, what we've thought to be inconsistent. But what they're banking on, like what this image right here say, I dare you. They're saying you don't have the heart. You don't have the discipline. You don't have the courage to stay focused long enough, because they feel as if we're addicted to them. We're addicted to their money. We're addicted to their news. We're addicted to their culture, their traditions. That's what they think. And a number of you prove them right every day. A number of you do. You prove them right every day. But this is an opportunity to make a difference. Doing something that has substance, value. For you, for me, for our generations. Lost time. Fixing the potholes. Revitalizing our communities. That's another thing. We're so spread out right now. It's almost like we have to redefine what community is, because we're dealing with community off of an old standard and a model that's not there anymore. But we need to redefine what community is and bring it back into play, because that's where our strength is. But they've made so many of us sheer individuals. And they know as long as they can keep us in that role of being separate, they can possibly get one more day of control. Right? So let's look. What else we have? Educational transformation. We're just talking about the benefits to decolonization. And these are all the things, when I walk into some of these rooms, that folks spend hours trying to have some clever idea as to what we need to do and what we I think and I feel. It's like, you all, it's already laid out for us to do it. We just got to put that brick in and do it. So all the people that say, I think, I feel, and you say, okay, let's get this work done. Oh, man. Oh, I had this to do. Oh, I'm going to come tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes. But they're still in rooms and they're complaining and they're talking. You won't get that out of this room. I'm telling you. We're in the background. We working. And we're promoting decolonization. We're gearing up to make it a national concept of substance. Oh, which made me say, I think I may need to read now. What is it? Right. Let's talk a little bit about the narrative trap. Right. Let's talk a little bit about the narrative trap. All right. So narrative trap or narrative fallacy is the cognitive tendency to force messy, complex, or random facts into a simple, coherent story, causing us to confuse a compelling tale with accurate reality. And this is what they do, to us in so many different ways, right? It said they are dangerous because they lead to overconfidence, poor decision making. Overconfidence. Overconfidence is where we believe the lie so much we really start promoting it to others and we get passionate about these things that have no substance, leading to nowhere. But we heard somebody else say it and it sounds good, but they never told us what the source was. Like I'm telling you the source is decolonization. I'm telling you it is Resolution 1514. You can go to it, right? Somebody was trying to come up. I may have missed it. Let's see. That was Gene. Gene, if you're trying to come up, try it again. Come on up, Gene. Right? Poor decision making and risky actions by ignoring data that contradicts the established narrative. Okay? So that's the narrative trap. Let me see what I got for the political theater. Because you all don't understand, they've been running these same games on us for over 200 years. One generation go out, another generation come in. And they sit around and talk about what they did to us, how they did it to us. They know it's wrong. They even went so far as to say they'll give it back. What am I saying? They're on record at the UN. They're on record saying they acknowledge their mistake and they'll give it back. But the requisite is we have to stand up and fit that bill. We have to come in and announce that we're ready to reclaim the land and the resources. But we haven't done it. Like I said, they've spent billions of dollars to keep us tapped into their narrative trap. Right? Stimulated through their political theater. Thank you all for coming, into the live. Not sure what you mean, what? Who is that? K Rise. Come on up, K Rise. He said people are too complicated. K Rise, what you mean by what?
Excuse me, man. No, I just seen um when you had said that they had already said that they'd give it back. I'm just now uh waking up to a lot of this, honestly. So
Yeah. Okay.
um just to hear that and hear that it's still preached on, I'm like, wow, that's crazy.
It
Like
is.
I'm seeing it, and it's been going on.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying it.
Okay. I'm with you, K Wise. I'm with you. And let me just tell you, um, they have agreed. They have acknowledged it. And like I said, you can go and read the UN resolutions and you can see the conversations and you can go from resolution 1514 to resolution 1541. Read it and come to
Mm.
understand what we're missing out on while we're up here arguing and begging and saying, oh, we need to do this, we need to do that. No, what we need to do is follow through with what they prepared for us to decolonize. That's what
That's
we
why I
need.
say it's like a surprise. That's just a surprise to me that this is already, stamped. And you don't go to church and hear this. You're not gonna hear this in school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, Lord forbid, if you fall into the trap and you get locked up or something like that, you just set afar from the message right there. Even more.
And
Um,
that's the point. That's the point, so that we can protect ourselves from their institutions. Their
right.
institutions have never meant us any good. This is an opportunity to be a separate. This is an opportunity to have diplomatic immunity, or someone that truly protects your interest. I know it sounds strange because all we've ever seen is the trauma. All we've ever seen, is the oppression. So, someone looking like me telling you that we can have immunity, it sounds like, I'm peddling some snake oil or something.
Right.
But they have already expressed on paper internationally that if we take this route, that they would then relinquish the resources. They would return, our, not return, but we would regain our political status internationally. I'm telling you, this is bigger than reparations. It truly is. So let me read this political theater, for you guys. Let's see. Let's see. Gene, I think you was trying to come up, Gene. I think you was trying to come up. Gene, if you want to come up, go ahead and say bring me up, and I'll try and get you up again. Okay. He said, what is that? Restitution. Okay. Yeah, all of that, Gene. I mean, everything is available, to us. Only if we decolonize, though. If you were paying attention to what I was saying earlier on, I was explaining, well, heck, forget about what I was saying. Go read about decolonization. Go read about 1514 and 1541, and come back when we have this conversation on Wednesday evenings at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, right? And then we do pop-up meetings like we're doing right here. And then we have back channel meetings on Discord and Instagram, to where we're planning. We're putting the strategy together. We're talking. We're doing the things that we need to do. We just need more of you to know it's available, and stop arguing about being an FBA or a NEGRO or African American. Y'all, none of that stuff don't mean nothing. It don't mean nothing. That's a part of the narrative trap. This is what they invest in to keep us arguing about nothing. Ain't gonna get a FBA, ain't gonna get nothing. This right here, though, decolonization, we'll have everything. But we have to know what solidarity means. We have to understand certain principles, certain values, certain ethics. You have to subject yourself to that law, to that standard. If you don't want to be governed by the law and standards and ethics on a higher sense of principles and morals, then keep dealing with them and all of their lies and their corruption, because that's what we're trying to get away from. So you're going to be governed either by them or being governed within your own people, understanding the agenda that you create, the legitimacy that you consent to. See, we're not going to consent to BS. So what are you afraid of? Ain't nobody gonna take nothing from you. Hell, they done took everything from you already. You cool with that? But we're not here to take anything from you. We're actually trying to put the things back in our families and on our tables, and we're trying to fix the broken lines. Why are we still arguing about this stuff when we have everything available to us to do it? All right, let me go. Let's see what else I got. Thank you all. Thank you for the follow, right? Y'all make sure you continue to tap the screen. Thank you for sharing out, the live, reposting the live. Make sure you hit the daily heart me up there. We got quite a few people in the room. Hit the daily heart me up there unless y'all spies. Y'all just, hanging out trying to, trap me in my words or something. Don't worry. I'm going to stick to the script of evidence-based academic research, you all. I'm not going to talk about what I think or what I feel. We're going to go through the research. We're going to do this by the book, you all. That's how we're going to do this, and we're going to come out on top. It's a new day. It's a new day, you all, right? And don't wait for their experts and their professionals to tell you this like K-Rise was expressing. He said, it's a shame. They didn't already agree to this, all the way back in the 60s. But their experts and their professionals are not going to promote this. They're not going to do it. But just because we're promoting it, it doesn't mean it's not true. And this is why we're taking you to the source. All right, so let's look at this political theater real quick. Let's just talk about it. Because in the scope of getting away from these people, we have to deal with that narrative trap, and we have to deal with the addiction to the political theater. All right, so let's just look. Political theater refers to dramatic, performative actions by politicians or activists, such as grandstanding, staged protests, or heated rhetoric. Come on, y'all. You don't think this man 47 in the picture? He known for a lot of heated rhetoric. We've seen a number of staged protests. And see, they do these things because they really don't have any merit toward like really helping the people. But symbolically, it makes the people feel like something happening. This just might be our opportunity. Right? What else? Rhetoric designed to grab attention, influence public opinion, and signal power rather than achieve immediate legislative solutions. It is dangerous because it distracts from substantive policy. This is what I'm saying. From substantive policy, fosters deep societal polarization by creating us versus them narrative, and can manipulate emotions to justify radical actions or violence. Now, let's just be clear. Somebody might try to say, oh, this thing with decolonization is a political theater. Well, it's not political theater because it's actually substantive. It's substantive. We're not trying to create radicals. Okay? We're not looking to deal with violence. We're looking to align ourselves with the law and things that are available to us to reclaim our autonomy. So let's look at this right here. It says, with the political theater, you all, it often prioritized style over substance. BLM was style. It didn't have no substance. They pushed that thing to the hilt. Y'all was running around with your shirts on and, you know, Soros or somebody funded it. They're not going to fund this decolonization, though. But as long as it lacks substance and it's just about style, they're going to keep pushing these things to us. They've been doing it. That's a part, that's a part of their, that's a part of their cycle, or how they've been tricking us, for all these years, right? Keeping us locked into things that are centered around style, no substance. So here we are talking about substance. Here we are talking about decolonization. George Soros ain't gonna come fund this. Bill Gates, they ain't gonna touch this, because this would diminish their position and their power beyond a shadow of a doubt. Hopefully you're not afraid. So let's see, did I finish the benefits? All right, so let's look at this. I was going through the benefits of decolonization, educational transformation. I hit that one for you. It encourages diversifying curricula and integrating alternative ways of knowing, which benefits both indigenous and non-indigenous people. Basically, we have control, over what we do. Yeah, hold on one second, y'all. Hold on one second. All right. All right, y'all still with me? Y'all still with me? Okay. All right, good. So, educational transformation, you all. So, decolonization is not just formally colonized nations, it is a global, ongoing process that creates more substantive, equitable communities. This thing is global, you all. It's ongoing, you all. We need to get in the vein. We need to get in. We need to put our ticket in. We need to make it be known we're coming as a people to be a part of this global phenomenon, decolonization. Right? Let's see. Let me take you. So when we talk about decolonization, this is the thing that explains what freedom and liberty looks like. Once in our life, to make it real, like we don't have to argue with these people. We don't have to go back and forth. Like, for example, y'all want to change policy and procedures, and what they tell you, oh, these things take time. Now, I created a justice initiative called Protection Against Search and Seizure. I created that justice initiative in 2015. I've been working, with lawmakers to do certain things, and they would come to me and say, oh, the way the laws are written, my hands are tied. I can't do anything. These things take time. Time never comes. And these are the games they continue to play. Well, through decolonization, We don't have to go through that no more. I don't know if y'all get it. I don't know if y'all like understand, like really, what's being said. But do this. If you truly understand what's being said with all the people that's in the room, y'all put a one. Put a one in the chat. Let me know. Let me know that you got it. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for the roses. Appreciate it. All right. We don't have but one person, huh? All the people in the room, we don't have but one person that puts a one in the chat to say they understand what's going on. What are the rest of you in this room for? What do you want? More clarity? If you need more clarity, put a two in the chat. Okay, I see what's happening. Okay, all right, we got one more person with a one. It's too many of you all in the room. Okay, somebody else got a two, right here. They need more clarity. All right, and I will say to you that you need more clarity. You can Google, you can AI, UN Resolution 1514, UN Resolution 1541. Let me see. Okay, some folks are at work. They can't, participate like they want to. What you say? Listen for the agenda as a plan. Okay, I appreciate it. Yeah, we're definitely planning. We're definitely strategizing, you all. We're definitely in the background, and we're doing the work. But we pop up every now and then to have these conversations. So here, colonization. Let's talk about that, because a number of you may not realize that's still what we're dealing with. Colonization, right here in America. Colonization is a process where a foreign power invades, settles, and establishes control over a territory and its indigenous population. Right? So, decolonization helps to restore the damage that was done, you all. And they've admitted to the damage. And they're ready to turn it over. Why are we begging these folk for reparations? We have something so much more powerful, more valued at this point than begging them for and furthermore, as an FBA, a NEGRO, African American, black, colored, whatever, you ain't gonna get reparations anyway. Because none of those nomenclatures are identified as something real. Those are fictitious categories or status. Ooh, that's another thing. We ain't touch on that yet, and I may not touch on it right now. I may have to just come back to it. There's so much to talk about. Status. And a number of you may have heard these terms and the state and the stateless, and it's just so much for us to talk about, which is good because we need to be enlightened as we look to have motivation, within the movement. Can't have a movement until you have, enlightenment. We just got somebody came up on the stage. Go ahead. Let us know what's on your mind.
Well, actually, I'm listening because I hear 100% what you're saying. As an individual, I'm pushing participation in the system to the extent that we absolutely need to vote at this minute. Because what I hear you discussing is a plan for us as we move forward, as individuals and as community. Um, it's just that we still have to have a foot in this door because this is crazy work that's happening right now. And like there's a family down the hall that's got 3 kids and they got to eat this week. You know what I'm saying? So that's when I said I'm listening for the plan as a long-term projection, because
Gotcha.
this is exactly where we have to go. It's literally what you're discussing conceptually is more realistic than a third party.
I got you.
Um, we have to do, and I'm looking at developing the co-ops, doing the networks with the black farmers, because these are the things that are going to keep families eating. We have to have structure, even to step away from it. You can't step off the porch if the porch is wobbly. You're just going to crash. So
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying, 100%.
Yeah, and I hear what you're saying, as well, and um, I think we all have to use our intellect and understanding as to how we process or make the transition, but understand the transition need to be made. I'm all for a smooth transition. I'm all for it, right? The point is making certain that individuals understand the greatest point of our power and thought and our interests need to be centered around decolonization, setting it up so that as you're talking about the co-ops, that we're able to show how we can fund these things and how the resources are available right now for us to do these things. Or, for example, saying once we sign the formal instrument that this immediately puts us in front of X amount of, billions or trillions of dollars in order to function, within our first, run as government. These are the type of things that we must see, and we're not asking people to put themselves in jeopardy and not be able, to feed your families, but we are asking individuals to give this energy, to give this time, to give it the effort that we need to push it through and to make it real, so that we understand what governing ourselves mean, or self autonomy. Like all I'm saying is we do it for them. Governing and running the house is like we need to be able to do it, for us. This is the road, right here. Decolonization. That's our thing. So I hear what you said. Let me see. Let me get your name right. Um, Black Kev. Oh, Big Kev. Big Kev. Big Kev. So yeah, I heard what you said, Big Kev, and you're not gonna get no pushback from me on that. Just I tell people, just don't try to have 2 feet, one on this side, one on that side. You're gonna have to make a decision, like where you're gonna be and what you're going to, support. So I also understand we have to show that what we have is viable. I agree.
Something that you
Uh,
said with regard to putting together bills and making presentations, that statement of, oh, my hands are tied, that one resonated, because I remember when we started going to Canada for medications, because we found out how much cheaper it was across that border. They literally locked in less than 6 months. They had passed a bill where you were no longer able to do that. So
that's right.
anything that you want can be legislated.
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that part.
So and that was within my advocacy. I was explaining to folks. I said it's rather obvious and it's odd that whenever we want something or need something, it takes time, right? And we need to be patient. But whenever they need to have something done, it happens within 30 days to 90 days. It happens within a year. And I just say, I don't know how long we can continue to like watch this happen. All they're saying is they don't value, us as a people, a political, we don't have any political voice or none of that. So we just need to change that position. And we need to understand, they say we have upward to 2 trillion in purchasing power. We need to understand through securitization how to use that to benefit. We need to understand how to use that as a benefit on an international market to compete with countries like Canada, like Mexico, and just being able to internationally handle our business. And there's no more excuse. If you read Decolonization, if you look at what's on the books for us to gain access to, there's no more excuse. Okay. So let me finish. Colonization is the process. Oh, okay, I read that. Okay, territory and its indigenous population. Okay, often exploiting its resources. Y'all say it ain't true, right? Economy and culture. Y'all say it ain't true. That's what colonization is. That's what we're under right now. And we need to get from under it. And we don't have to, struggle with these people about it. They've already agreed that they would do it if we just go through the process. Okay? And culture, and don't believe me, go read it for yourself. I know for a number of you, this is your first time hearing it. Go read it and then come back and let's do this work. A number of you don't want to do the work. You're too busy being slaves, right? The economy, the culture, it involves imposing a dominant power's language, culture, and political system, frequently through violence and displacement. Y'all gonna let them talk about it right in our face? Like, we're tough and we're forceful with one another. But these people can write it down, make it a public record, tell you exactly what they're doing, and we're afraid. And I'm not talking about being violent. I'm just talking about understanding what it means to say, oh, you're bold enough to open. They're not even lying about it no more, y'all. This is like an open secret. What they're saying is, as I put it in the picture, I dare you. I dare you. I double dog dare you. Right? Key aspects: political and economic domination. That's for them. So as long as we're in their system, you'll never be able to build black wealth. Generational wealth, that's what y'all call it. That's the new buzz thing right now. We're going to get some generational wealth. We're going to build some banks, and we're going to do Black Wall Street, and you all, as long as we do it through colonization, through their system, we'll never have generational wealth. We'll have generational wealth, and we can build black banks if we follow the protocol to decolonization. If we follow the protocol to decolonization, we'll have the resources. If we follow the protocol to decolonization, we'll have the budget to determine how we deal with the co-ops that we deal with. We'll get to reorganize what our community look like, which I said to you all, we have to redefine what community is because it's not what it used to be. And when we say community now today, I don't think we understand like really and truly what we're saying. I feel like we're functioning off of old verbiage, a word of antiquity, like we're reminiscing. It's nostalgia. We're spread out. We're all over the place. These folks have a master strategy going on right now. But we have an opportunity to fix it. And they just don't think We have it in us because they have us addicted on their processes, their policies, their procedures, their money. That's a big one. Their money. It's like we're in a society of crumb snatchers, and you got folks that's just waiting to see how big the crumb is going to be that fall from the table, and we scramble and fight over it and tell the next man, better get you some money. Look at me. I'm a millionaire. I'm a billionaire. Look at how I did it. Those millions and those billions, you all, it ain't real. Look at what they did, to Kanye West. Man was said to be a billionaire, and overnight, he don't know what hit him. It's all an illusion. Inside of their structure, inside of their system, as long as they can use you for their narrative, as long as they can use you as a part of their political theater. But the moment they can't use you as a part of that, and you're going to still try to function within their vein, they got something for you. But this decolonization, this is one they don't have an action item for, because they don't think we're going to do it. And this is the right time to do it while everything they're doing is really falling apart. I don't know if you can see it or not. I don't know if you're witnessing it or not. So why don't we naturally reclaim autonomy, so when they fall, hey, we can just keep governing. We can just keep rolling. We can just keep doing this thing in the manner and the way we need to do it. As a nation, recognized within the nations, standing as a part of a family of nations. All right, here we go. Let's see. Just want to talk a little bit about the Declaration of Independence. It articulates a moral, a revolutionary right to overthrow or abolish, a government that violates fundamental rights. So this is just looking at a point. We're not a part of their thing. But even in the scope of what they established through a Declaration of Independence, they recognize that if an institution starts to violate the fundamental rights, that the people have a right to do something different. Like the paramount duty of government is to protect, and when you realize government failed to protect you all, you have a right to protect yourself. And this is what decolonization really offers us, is an opportunity to protect ourselves. Recognizing that they've violated every fundamental right that we have. It don't make sense to keep trying to work through these people. We will not be able to vote our way into reclaiming autonomy. We will not be able to give them a little more time that we can have self-determination. In the streets, they say, he played you. They're playing you. Or right now, they're finessing us. We won't allow it to happen on the streets between ourselves. You'll beat a man down. But we let these people continue to take advantage of us. Why? There's no more excuse. All right, so resolution 1514. I'm going to give you a little bit about it. And I'm going to close out here, shortly, and let you all know, if you're really interested, inbox me. Inbox me and say something about decolonization, or you want to be, with the Discord, or you just want to be involved. We'd love to share the information. We're not selling information like a number of these folk out here hustling our people. They got a package for this and a package for that. It's free. The information is free. What you got to pay? Attention. That's what you got to pay. That's the currency we ask. Pay attention. That's your fee. If you can't pay attention, then don't worry about it. It's not for you. But if you want to pay attention and if you want to deal with the evidence-based academic research and come to understand how to use your mind. That's what I was going to say. And I'm just realizing everybody is not going to be with it, you all. And we can't expect for everybody to do and or like think the same. I mean, some of you are good in this area, like the brother Big Kev was talking, about like the farming and the different things. It's like that's very useful. And we need to be able to have individuals that know how to talk about that and have the agenda situated for that, so we can understand as a part of the broader concept of the initiative and the agenda. This is what we're funding. It's going to take $10 million to deal with the agricultural concept or department of government branch. We got to do it, you all. A gentleman called Noble Drew Ali. I read some of his information years ago, and I thought it was very good information, even as he was pointing out with these people. He said, they have been here long enough to show us how to do it. And I take that, but I also say they've been here long enough for us to understand also what not to do. Right? But we now have an opportunity. No more excuse. So here, the Declaration, looking at Resolution 1514, for those of you who have not heard it and you're too lazy to go look it up for yourself. All right? Well, that's what I'm here for. Every Wednesday night, we're going to talk about this at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and we may do pop-ups. Outside of that, we're talking about it throughout the week. We're building, we're creating strategy. We're getting this thing up and going. The Declaration on Granting of Independence to Colonial Countries and People, also known as the United Nations General Assembly Resolution 1514, was a resolution of the United Nations General Assembly during the 15th session that affirmed independence for countries and people under colonial rule. Are we not under colonial rule? Is this not for us? The Declaration characterized foreign rule as a violation of human rights. It's a violation. But what the U.S. said to overwrite the concept of it being a violation, because the UN did this beautiful letter years ago, some of you may remember it, where they were charging the U.S. with all these human rights violations and crimes. And I was like, oh, this is beautiful. Oh, they're about to get them. But the U.S. fired back, you all, with within their RUD. The RUD is Reservation Understanding in the Declaration, right? But in the RUD, and I'm going to paraphrase this for you right here. In the RUD, they clapped back at the UN, basically saying, yeah, it looks bad, doesn't it? It really does look bad. They said, but rights are not self-executable. My mouth dropped. I was like, whoa. So when they say rights are not self-executable, you all, what they said to the UN is, you can't charge us for these violations when the people themselves haven't executed their right to say something is wrong. They're saying these people want us to do this. And they use the consent of voter registration as a sign or a symbol to say See, we have the consent of the people to run these policies, to deal with these procedures. And I know you all say, no, that can't be it psychologically. But these are the games they play. These are the things that they do. And we can't trust their experts and their professionals to give us adequate information. They've been stringing us along for too long right now. What's up, Brother Mario? Glad to have you in the room, man. They've been stringing us along for too long right now, you all. Okay, so it says the Declaration characterized foreign rule as a violation of human rights, affirmed the right to self-determination. They have affirmed the right to self-determination and called for an end to colonial rule. All right, why are we late? This was 60 years ago. Why are we late? They didn't already call for an end to colonial rule, and we're still under colonial rule. The Declaration on granting of independence to colonial countries and people was adopted on December the 14th, 1960. Why are we just now hearing about this for a number of you? Why? Because they've used the narrative trap, political theater, and their billions of dollars to market and make certain we stay tapped into propping them up, making them more wealthy, feeling like we can't live if we don't have what they're offering. It's a psychological mind, right? December 14th, 1960, and is a landmark UN document that proclaimed the necessity of ending colonialism in all of its forms. And guess what? All of the countries signed on and agreed. See what he said up there? I dare you. It's taken us this long to wake up. It declares, okay, here we go. It declared that the subjugation of people is a denial of fundamental human rights and affirmed that inalienable rights of all people to self-determination. So, all I'm saying, you all, we shouldn't be arguing anymore, begging for reparations, and waiting for crumbs to fall from the table. Y'all keep saying this is our land, and we're the indigenous people. This the solution right here. They're banking on the fact that we can't put our selfishness aside and be strategic to realize how we're going to govern ourselves. And for all of you that have created these narratives that you can't have a government inside of a government and a state inside of a state and a nation inside, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. And we're not doing that anyway. We're just separating ourselves from the colonizers. And we're using what have already been put in place for us to reintroduce ourselves to the international stage and or family as a nation of people. That's all. All right, so it says been affirmed, self-determination, freedom and independence, stating that the process of decolonization, you all, is irreversible, irrevocable. What's wrong, y'all? Why your experts and professionals ain't told you about this? Where the NAACP at? Where the Black Caucus and the Urban League? Where are all of Ben Crump and Al Sharpton and come on, y'all. We don't need them no way. They've been holding us back and feeding us bad information anyway. Right? They need to be educated by us, re-educated. Y'all know what an addiction is? Like, I used to think, the having the stones in the street, I used to think that was the worst thing when talking about an addiction. But man, this addiction right here, like being addicted to oppression, being addicted to the colonizer, woo, that's a different type of psychological, feat that we have to overcome. Some of us are ready though, but don't be fooled because these people have these positions like the vice chair and they have their degrees and and they have all of these accolades, but they don't know nothing. Not about this. They don't know nothing about unalienable rights. All they know is how to teach you to remain under the colonizer. That's what they've been trained to do. This is what I'm telling you. Can't trust their experts and professionals. All right. Then it says the resolution called for an immediate and unconditional end to colonialism. This was back in the 60s, you all. I wasn't even born yet. Asserting that lack of preparedness should not delay independence. Basically saying the colonizers may say, "Oh, we need time to do this and do that." They're saying, "No, you can't use that to delay the independence, of the people." And they agreed. Okay. So I think for real, I'm gonna stop, right there. I appreciate, everyone, Big Kev. I appreciate you, for coming up, sharing your thoughts. You're still on stage, man. If you had any last words that you wanted to, say, you can. I'll give you that. Um, but I want you all to know this is real.
You know,
Go ahead.
um, I'm slightly older than probably most of the people listening to you. A few years ago, I wouldn't even consider this path because I was locked into making the system and making the world a better place by participation. However, the fact that they allowed this administration to take position as it has, somewhat under questionable circumstances, I don't want to get your live taken down, but you know that there was a lot of funny stuff behind the scenes. And then they allowed this Project 2025 agenda to be on the table. The fact that it is even allowed as a point of discussion, as a political ideology that is acceptable, and then they're implementing these bills, there's no choice but to seek some sort of alternative path out of this mess because they have fully testified that this system is not going to serve us properly. It's not even about waiting for You know, we're gonna do this. Because we keep getting hemmed at the top. Whenever we get to a point where we should have something turn around in our favor, we keep getting hemmed. We get symbolic, but we don't get quantifiable, and that's problematic. So yeah, I definitely appreciate what you're saying.
Absolutely. And come to understand beyond what I'm saying, it's what's on the record, for us to take advantage of. And we should no more look at what it means to prop them up, but truly come to say all the governing that we've done for them, we now need to use our understanding and intellect at what it means to govern for ourselves, because the United Nations is and other nations are waiting for us to show our Constitution, our Declaration for Independence, our agenda. Like, what are we going to do with this billions of dollars? How are we going to use it to serve our people, those that are a part, of, our interworking? So, yeah, that's what's in front of us, everybody. So again, I want to thank you all for having this time with me today. As we're talking about decolonization, and we ain't gonna stop. We're gonna continue, doing this. So make sure you follow me. Make sure that you inbox me if you want to be more connected and deal with some of the technical things. Now, be ready. When I say be ready, we ain't dealing with no crazy, okay? And you can't just come and think you just gonna spectate. It don't work like that. All right. Appreciate you too. Who is that? Kev. I think that's K Rise. Appreciate you too, K Rise. All right. So without further ado, you all enjoy the rest of your day. Big Kev, I appreciate you for coming up. I hope this is not the last time I see you on the live. You all every Wednesday night, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I'm scheduled to hold this live. Outside of that, I may pop up, at any minute, especially with my brother CP. CP Bay as well. We're definitely working together, with this education, because I do say the enlightenment has to happen before we can go into full-fledged, movement. So with that, I want to say good afternoon, good evening, and good night.